Okay, so the intent of this thing was twofold. It was, one, Ashley had evaluated a couple of things from the video, had come up with some recommendations. The outstanding action was to identify what video the recommendation stemmed from. She did that. She updated the chart and sent it back to me. I saw that. But the other piece of that was, for James, um, I wanted to be able to have a demo where demo was capable, so that way you could see what it is she's referring to versus the description. So I wanted to do that. The second thing I wanted to do was go through the Excel charts that we had, James, you and I, and with the recommendations that Ashley's proposing, highlight what the to be, what do those charts need to be now, as a result of your PowerPoint presentation where you already assigned the roles and we already have a sense for what we want to do there. And two would be any input that's coming from Ashley on what could come from SFDC, and maybe we don't have to carry over processes one for one. We could hold a place marker that says, hey, whatever Ashley just did, if she could do that for VMware, I want it here. Does that make sense, those two things?
Yeah.
It does. Hang on 1 second for me.
Yep.
Yeah, that's fine. Hey guys, I'm sorry. I have to help somebody while we start because we're at the end of the quarter. So I'm gonna be doing a couple things while we're talking.
Would it be better to do it at a different time, James?
I mean, I think this will take me maybe a couple minutes, and then we should be okay.
Just gonna be ad hoc kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's one big order I have to help with real quick.
Yep, fair enough. All right, so can you stay at your PC, or do you have to tail out?
No, I'll be here. She's bringing a computer to me, so.
Okay, so all right, over to you, Ash. How about you get started with whatever you've got prepared, and then you know, as James, as we catch James' attention, or we need feedback, we'll just point it out to him, and we'll do the multitasking thing for a little bit.
All right, sounds good. Let me present my screen. All right, are you seeing my Salesforce screen?
Yes.
All
Yeah.
right. Okay, so what I wanted to go through is basically what an import is going to look like, and how easy it is, especially once we add the fields that we're looking for. So if I click on one of these old accounts that I'd created a while ago, the
Actually,
field.
hold on.
Yep.
Actually, can you hold up 1 second? Can you take me back to the Excel spreadsheet and show me which one you're referring to with this piece of the demo? It might be multiple, but can we make that tie real quick on the video?
Yep, so adding this credit ID number that was used in MyLearn and adding fields that match the fields that are in VMware instance. I'm not 100% sure which fields that they have, but the one field that I did add was VMware account owner, so it's not something that has to be flipped back and forth to understand. So that's where I'm just showing this is a regular account page. This is my developer org. So there's a couple of things on here that aren't necessarily needed. But the things that I added are credit balance, VMware account owner, and credit account ID. So as well as status, so that we can do the active inactive that I talked to James about. This has been added on both the account and the contact level and can be reported on then. So that's what an account page looks like. And then what I did was I put together a very, very small spreadsheet. As you can see, it's 7 accounts that I was going to show how to import. So with adding in this credit account ID to Salesforce, the process has become a lot easier because now instead of having to send this out to the reps, you can do this just with one big import. So if we go to Data Loader, and this is something that is downloaded from Salesforce itself, we can go to this upsert function, and this will allow us to insert any records that don't exist as well as update current records. So this is where you no longer need a master spreadsheet. This is the way that you can, every time you get that list, you're updating the current accounts that are already in the system as well as importing the new ones that you didn't already have. So if I log in, allow it, then it's going to ask me to select which objects I would like to import, and I'm going to import these accounts. So I browse, grab this account CSV file, next. So it's going to import these 7 records. With an upsert, this is where you can use that external ID field to determine what you're inserting versus what you're updating. There is no parent, so I can leave that as is. Here, I'm going to match fields. You can auto match if you have your Excel fields named very similar to what you have in Salesforce. Otherwise, there is this drag and drop that you can use. Once that's done, you hit OK. Next, decide where you want your success and error reports to go, and finish. It will now automatically insert everything I have on this spreadsheet into Salesforce. All of them were successful. So if I go back into Salesforce now, and I go back to my accounts, look at all of them, you'll now see I added these 7 accounts. I labeled them 1 through 7. I didn't add in phone or any of those fields. What I added in was this credit account ID, the VMware owner, which I put as myself, and their credit balance. Any of these fields can be imported in the exact same way, though. So that is where, if we want to go back to this options, when you add the credit ID, this would allow you to mass insert accounts, contacts, and opportunities. The one catch with contacts is from what I understood from James, there is no ID on a contact. So what you would end up having to do is pull a report from Salesforce, like this one. Oh, I didn't do so I'll create one quick. Accounts and contacts. And if I run this, oh, I gotta pull in account ID, and these are all reports that can be set up ahead of time. And credit account ID. If you have to import contacts, this would be the way that you would have to do it. You then export the ID, you export the report, and then this is where you would have to still do a little bit of manual labor. You would have to just do a VLOOKUP in Excel. So these are the accounts that I had just imported, and this gives their Salesforce ID right here. So if I move that over to, I pulled an excerpt of all of the contacts that I currently have in my system. I can then do a VLOOKUP and move all of these contacts onto these accounts. So it would just be, oh, it's backwards, okay. So this would be really as manual as the labor is going to get, is having to do a VLOOKUP so that you can import a second file. Oh, what did I do wrong? All right, let's try this again. Oh, what is it doing to me? Ah, I forgot something. Sorry, guys. So this now gives the account ID, and that's how you would have to import contacts. Usually doesn't take that long. If I save this contact file, I can now go into Salesforce or go into Data Loader and import these. So I would update because these are accounts that are contacts that I already have in the system, and I just want to move them over to the correct account. Grab that contact file, create or edit a map. The only thing I really need is the account ID because that's the only thing that I'm changing, as well as the contact ID, so that we know which contact we want to move. So this is moving all 30 contacts over. Instead of having to create or manually go in and find all 30 contacts, it has now done it in less than a minute for me.
So help me out again here, Ash. Is that the end of that, by the way?
Yep, that's the accounts and the contacts. So if I go back to any one of these accounts now that I just inserted, so account number 1, it now has 5 contacts on it.
So with this go, and can you go back to your spreadsheet?
Yep.
And what video, can you make that bigger?
Um,
Just plus it down in the bottom corner.
oh, you just want me to increase the
Just,
zoom?
yeah, there you go.
All right. So this is where the credit ID number would allow you to mass insert the counts, contacts, opportunities that ESG gets from VMware. So that big account file that James gets, we can add in this credit ID so that he can upsert all of the existing accounts. And then we just have to pull those account IDs in order to insert contacts and opportunities.
Okay, so in his process, he gets this list and he does a lot of filtering to get it to the point that he wants well, he does a lot of filtering because he's trying to determine what regions they go to.
Yep.
Is this going to be, so a lot of that region information is why he does it manually. He's got to decipher what those regions are.
Well, I remember in the video, part of why he was doing things manually too is he had to remove all of those existing accounts that already had regions. So this would allow him to insert the new accounts easily.
Okay, so
Instead of having to pass them out to the reps to then insert the accounts manually by hand. So that's the part that it's helping with. I could do some code to update accounts based on finance territory or region or anything like that. We could do that, but that's not out of the box functionality.
Yeah. So, so what are your well, I know you didn't get to see the entire thing, James, but is what you saw, what are your questions around what you saw?
So we're attaching the credit account ID number to actual accounts in Salesforce, right?
Yes, that would, in my learn, it looked like that credit account IDs were what was attached to accounts. If it's attached to a different object, like a contact, we can move that to a contact as well. From what it looked like from just the videos, it looked like it was located in an account, though.
Okay, and so one thing I'd need to understand is, say IBM, right, is the account. If they have 10 different credit account numbers, how would that work?
So,
Go ahead.
so that would depend. Are they all for the corporate, or is there different offices that are using different credit numbers?
Maybe that's a bad example. Let's just say company, anybody else, ESG has 5 different offices or 5 different groups that have purchased credits.
Yep.
Okay. So there's 5 different account numbers and maybe even different contacts, but it's all under ESG.
So the way that I would say that should be handled is a different account should be created for each of those contact/credit accounts because you're approaching each of them differently, aren't you? Or are you looking at them as a whole?
Well, the way we currently do it is we have hopefully we just have one account name for ESG,
Mm-hmm.
and then we have the different contacts, and then each credit account ID number is an actual opportunity.
So are they then attached to contacts and not accounts? Because this is what I was thinking for in Salesforce. If they have 5 different accounts that have credits and that you're creating an opportunity for, what if you only get through half of those credits? Do you not close the opportunity then until you get through all of them? Or can you approach them again later? Like, let's say they're going to do one class now and one class in a month. Are you
Yeah.
just going to leave the opportunity open for a full month, or are you creating 2 new opportunities for that?
Yeah. Let me. So the way we do it, can I share real
Yep.
quick? How do I? I have too many windows open. Let's see. I don't have one queued up. I'm hoping this is a good example. Okay, this will work. So if this is a credit account, can you guys see my screen, by the way?
Yep.
Okay, so if this is one of the account numbers,
Hmm.
basically what the rep is doing is too many windows. You know, they pull it up in MyLearn, right? Find out who it belongs to, which is this person, Powell. And then they're going to go find Mass Mutual, add Powell, and then the opportunity. And so when I look up Powell, Powell has this 25% opportunity, and that's the parent opportunity for the accounts,
Okay.
for the entire account. And that pretty much stays open until it either expires or all the credits are consumed.
Okay.
And the way I look at it is like the rep uses this as almost like a checking account ledger to say, hey, this company has credits available, and when I withdraw credits from there, I create separate opportunities
Hmm.
under the student. So from there, if I clicked on Mass Mutual, you can see that I'm going to pretend these are credits, but different opportunities are defined and put to registered. For instance,
Okay.
boot camp. But it would, and I'm just using it for example, this would tie back to this on an account number level. So when we load them into Salesforce, I think we could almost do, or I'm asking, can you do just like accounts and contacts as a load, which I've done before, but then can you assign or mass load opportunities to those contacts?
Yes, you can.
Is that different than what we're doing now?
Well, it's exactly the same process. You just have to have a spreadsheet with the opportunities filled out. So you would have to go through and decide what you wanted each opportunity to be named because a
Okay.
name is something that you'd import, but then you would import all of that information together. The only thing that you would need would be the Salesforce account ID, which you can run a report, export it, do one VLOOKUP like I showed you,
Yeah.
and that will give you the account ID that you want to load the opportunities onto.
Okay. And
So
that's
right
is
now,
that. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
right now though, in your model, so say you have Acme Company and Acme has, Jen Brown as the account coordinator, and that's the contact that you're loading for your parent opportunity in Salesforce. You're not going to know your individual opportunities for Jim Brown, or let's say we started on Jan 1. You might not know until September 30th of that year all the opportunities that burn that parent opportunity down, correct?
Yeah, I would just want to load the parent opportunities, contacts, and account information, but I don't want to create any duplicates.
Okay, so it's just for parent opportunities that we're potentially, but is that what your current list does? Is it just yeah, it is, isn't it? It's a parent
Yeah.
opportunity. Yep, okay, so it would work. That would work.
So say, let me find something real quick. Let's just say I had everybody's sheet queued up like this, and I create whatever opportunity name maybe I put in here. I think what you were saying is if I can map most of this to Salesforce fields,
Then you can do an insert. And with having to do, like assign regions, if there's a specific region for every person and you just put the region in, then Salesforce can automatically update the person as well. It would just be a formula field I would add in.
and then when you say account number, is that just like a Salesforce account number for Clariant, or are we talking about these account numbers for credits?
If you're going to be, that depends on what you're doing. If you're inserting accounts, you should be using the MyLearn account number because that way you can do the upsert and you're not creating duplicates. If you're going to insert either contacts or opportunities, you will need the Salesforce account number. Does that make sense?
It does. I don't know how to. I'm not sure how to put it together to where it'll work, but I understand the concept.
So if you were just loading in all the accounts, you could leave the spreadsheet almost exactly as is and just use that MyLearn account ID number and do your upsert. Once you're ready to add account or contacts and opportunities then to that account, you'd have to go back into Salesforce, pull a report of all the accounts you just added, and it'll give you that ID. You do a VLOOKUP onto this, and then you can mass insert everything else.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does. I think it's something I'd have to do to feel
Yep.
comfortable with, but yeah.
It takes a couple of times.
Yeah, just like anything. So
Yep.
So I think if I really rolled up my sleeves and did this a couple times, it's probably going to save us a lot of time.
Yes, I definitely do it every single month for our price increases. I insert about 300 opportunities.
Well, and it's not just you, though, James, right? I mean, well, it's the ISRs, right? The ISRs are going to be, because for you, you're still going to be, I don't imagine that you're not going to review it prior to it going into SFDC for an upload. But the time alleviation is from the ISRs having to, or the sales associates having to do it, correct?
Yes.
Because we're pulling those responsibilities off onto them. So it might just be one person as a month-end closeout task, like Ashley was referring to, that they just, as a part of the core process, it goes to a sales associate, she teaches them how to do it, and then each month, or each whatever frequency interval, they're just administering that VLOOKUP and mass import on both the accounts and the opportunities, depending on what level of information they have at the time.
Yeah. Can you guys still see my screen?
Yep.
We talked about bad data. I mean, look how many IBM accounts are in here.
Yeah.
So I just again, I just need to see it work with some, or maybe we could test like 10 accounts and see if they're able to be loaded. So I don't know. I could try to prep a sheet, and then Ashley, maybe you and I could just try it together. Make
Yep.
sure I'm understanding it.
Definitely. So the only thing is, because this is the first upload, there is not going to be any of those MyLearn account IDs in there yet. That is the only hard part. So if you give me a list that is brand new and you know every account needs to be inserted, then you can practice the insert. But if
Yeah.
you want to practice the upsert, where it's also updating existing accounts and inserting new accounts, then we would have to get some of those numbers into existing accounts already.
So yeah, something I'm actually doing. I don't know where it went, but it's making sure all the account numbers are in Salesforce
Okay.
that have been assigned. I lost the report, but oh no, here it is. So in some fashion, this column here, it's a field and an opportunity. It tells me if the number's in there. So
Okay.
I could come up with a clean sheet pretty quick.
Okay. Yeah, then that's perfect. We could definitely test some.
Okay, cool. I'll work on that. Because honestly, I'm pretty bad at VLOOKUPs too. So.
I know, I couldn't figure it out. I don't know why I kept missing a comma, and then I don't know what was going on.
You did way better than I would do. So. Okay. All right, I'm good here. I'll go ahead and stop sharing.
All right.
Unless am I up? I don't remember.
I can go ahead and start sharing again to share the rest of it.
Okay.
Hey, while you're looking for that, just to be an asshole about the whole thing, when can we schedule some time for you guys to validate that what was proposed is something that we can in fact do?
That's what my schedule looks like on Monday and Tuesday. So any times that are not blacked out, I can do. And then as of the 15th, I'm out of town until the 22nd.
So, are you an hour behind? Are you Central?
Yep, I'm Central.
Okay. So Monday, I actually get a new boss.
Oh.
It's funny. So yeah, Keith, Kevin, and my new Kevin's. I meet Monday, but I have time anywhere from like noon to 3 Eastern, or even 11. So I'm wide open in the heart of the day, Monday.
Okay.
So if
So then
11,
we can
11's good, we could do something at noon.
yeah, either works fine with me. I can do either.
All right, I'll just put together an invite. I think I have your email.
For this one, we should probably just use it to, because I'm sure it's going to be the same thing for anything else that you. Do you have other proposals?
I have a couple other ones.
Yeah, so we should probably make it a little bit longer than, just this one, so that we can capture whatever. Because I'm sure you're going to want to do, real-time data on each of these. Makes sense, James?
Yep.
I think I'm rambling. And just so you know, too, I'll be there Monday and Tuesday.
Okay. It's gonna be a crazy week.
I've got to go to Cincinnati, then to Seattle, and then I've got to go back to Virginia. So yeah, you're
Oh,
telling me
wow.
it's gonna be a busy week.
It's our last week of the quarter too.
Oh. Well, hey, do you have a sense for, while you're looking through this, might as well just do this one last tangent here. Do you have a sense for how much of what we're doing Brad and Kevin and Keith want the new Kevin to weigh in on?
I don't.
Do you understand my question? I mean, here we're telling him, here, new boss, come in, and oh, by the way, we just redesigned your whole processes that you'll now be accountable for. I can't imagine that he's not going to want to say, hey, well, how about I take a peek before you guys go live on whatever the hell that is.
Is he not weighing in or?
The new Kevin?
Yeah. New Kevin.
I have yet to meet the guy or talk to him, so he's not weighing in as a result of anything I'm doing.
No, I think I think we show him what we've done. But yeah, I don't know that he'll have. I mean, how long did it take for us to get through our current process? He's not gonna have any clue about it, and then future state. So I think if if we keep Keith informed and we can show how we've changed the process to be more effective or processes, then I'm not real worried about it. But
yeah, you're saying we'll have 2 iterations. We'll have a couple iterations. Is what you're saying.
yeah,
Right?
I mean, and we have no time to really do it any differently, I don't think.
Yeah. No, you're right. Hey, so along those same lines, then, do you see? So if we do this beta and it's something we can work, is this something you need her to be able to, her meaning Ashley, to put into place for production as of 1 July?
As far as uploading credits?
Well, as far as, yeah, I guess from that standpoint, it's just one example, but I mean, I guess what I'm trying to gauge is she's going to be gone. Ashley's going to be gone from the 15th. The when?
To the
Ashley?
22nd.
22nd.
Yeah.
So let's assume that we like and we can implement the recommendations she's calling out. And that means the 23rd through whatever the hell the rest of that week is. Are we trying to target her time to get whatever that is implemented?
Yeah, as much as we can.
Yeah. Okay. So
I mean,
so there you go, Ashley.
I've told the reps that we want to go live in the sense of their new roles and territories by July 1st, minimum, and have hopefully comp plans and targets and all that fun stuff done, and that this kind of stuff is going to be a process, and we're going to try to get it resolved as fast as possible. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I think Keith would want it all working perfectly, July 1st or sooner. But realistically, there's going to be some hurdles.
Well, if there is time that you guys need me to spend there, I can request time off here, as long as I know in advance.
Well, I'm looking at the calendar, Ashley,
Mhm.
and James certainly is the guy to answer that question. But I'm just here's a data point for you. If you're back that Wednesday,
Yep.
I think you said the 23rd.
Yep, the 20.
That Thursday, rather.
That
Right.
Thursday,
So
what?
if you're back that Thursday, that really gives us the next 4 days, right? The 27th through the 30th. And then you have a weekend, right? So if we miss the first, we miss a day, big deal. But my point is really if we can agree on kind of what we want. When do you leave? The 15th?
The 15th, yep. Next week, Wednesday,
Yeah.
I leave.
So if we could spend Monday and Tuesday firming up from a no kidding, use my data and show me how this works and agree that we're going to go do something, that means you have 4 days on the last week of June. And again, I'm sure we want more lead time than 4 days, but from a standpoint, we'll have 4 days where we could effectively be putting this stuff into place, right?
Yep.
The 22nd to the 30th. So, okay. All right, so enough about that. We'll go back to the demo. I just wanted to kind of get a sense for, what that timing looked like.
Okay. So the other thing that I put into play, which I know you said you didn't actually have a hard threshold yet, was this credit balance. If you're importing accounts into the system and you start adding this credit balance in and you're starting to update or update those existing accounts as well as insert the new ones, we can set up a trigger so that when this hits any number, there's a threshold I put of 7 in here. Whenever it hits that number, then an email can be sent out.
Okay.
And what I have, what? Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, I would probably want to do this at the opportunity level, but it makes sense to me.
Yep, we can definitely do it at the opportunity level. And what would happen is you can write whatever email you want, and it will automatically go out. I don't have emails in here right now because this is my demo org, but this is very general. It would pull in the account name, it would pull in the credit balance that's left and say thanks, and then it can come from, the rep who's sending this or who owns the account.
Okay, yeah, that's awesome. We do use some email templates like that when we're doing lead gen, so I'm a little bit familiar.
Okay.
I think that's a great idea. I just need to figure out the threshold with the team.
Okay. So that was, I had that in here for automatic alerts to be sent out. Creating the class object in Salesforce, I believe could help with month-end duties. It's going to require 2 VLOOKUPs and a couple of sheets though. So I don't, what I did was create this credit account object, and this links from the class object that I created to the account or the contact, sorry. So if we actually go to one of the contacts, it's better to do it from here. So here's the classes, that's where it is. I have also a class object. I created this class number 123. I can add this person. This can also be done in the mass inserts as well. So if I wanted to prepare a document, I didn't have enough time to do this part of it. But if you want to then add these people to classes, you can add them to this 123 class, and you can have their status here as well. So that then is its own object that you guys can then report on later instead of having it living on a different object. That class has a start date, an end date, an amount. You can put whatever fields in here that you really want to do. And at the end, if you can pull a mass, like a master class list from VMware, you can go in here and update all of your people that are attached to it, so that you can see if they'd registered, or if we need to flip it to no-show, or if we need to flip it to attended. As long as you can pull that information from vWare, you can then load it in with this separate object being in Salesforce. Does that make sense?
Kind of, but it's still kind of manual to do?
You would do it with spreadsheets the exact same way. So I have this tiny little one, but I didn't finish. What you'd end up doing is you'd import all of the classes, like let's say in the first of the month, any class that is going to be taking place during that month has a start date sometime during that month. You then do a mass insert into Salesforce, and all of your classes, where'd my Salesforce go? Your classes would then show up here. You would load all of this information in, and then once at the end of the month, in order to go back and update those people, you would update the object that I have linking the two, which is the contact class lookup. I just named it that for no reason, but you'd go back in and basically you would just update the status. So you don't have to manually go into each opportunity and update whether they've attended or not. Now you can do a mass insert and you're updating it all at the same time. This object can be connected to the opportunity instead of the contact. It can be connected to the account. It can be connected anywhere, but it just gives you the ability to mass insert into Salesforce somewhere and have all of your classes then in Salesforce. Would that be of interest or no?
If it automates month end, I mean, I think so. I'm trying to think through of.
It won't completely automate it because you'll still have to do one of those mass inserts, but you no longer have to go through each opportunity to see if the people have attended because you'll have that all located in Salesforce now.
But what about amounts and things like that? I guess we have to see what kind of information can be provided to us from VMware, right?
Yes, this all depends on what they can provide, and all of that information can be populated in here, and then we can set workflows to then close those opportunities for you.
Okay.
They can close them, they can update the amount to the correct amount that you load into this object, and then they can, I think there's 2 boxes that you had to check. It can update, we can create a workflow that does all of that for you from the mass upsert, I guess would be better than import. So from the mass upsert of those classes, you would then be able to do it. Workflows would do everything else for you.
Can I try repeating this one back, because I'm not entirely sure I understand. So right now, as a part of our month-end close, we have a did this guy take the class, right? And we go through the process of validating that the student name was correct, that the time and that student attended the classes were correct, the amounts, all those kinds of things. Those things are coming from VMware. And I think this suggestion is saying Salesforce has got a mass upsert capability that if we build out a new object called class and we load the objects coming from if we load the classes from VMware going to the classes object and then establish some workflows to the contact list object or the contact object that's already in Salesforce, we can now utilize Salesforce and workflows to validate attendance. Is that what we're saying?
Yes.
Okay. So the constraints on this one are how much data can we just dump from VMware's system so that way we have all the relevant fields that we are now manually looking up.
Yes.
Okay. So to what degree, James, do you have the capability to ask for VMware data as a dump as opposed to just an interface that you go and button click to?
Well, I have the ability to pull some reports from the LMS myself. It's just something I would want to review again with Ashley, maybe in a live demo of some of the challenges I think there might be, and see how we can make it work.
Okay. Yeah,
but that's all stuff I could prep for Monday just to look at what we have access to.
Yeah. Okay. So then that's going to be my question again. Then, so maybe on Monday we could take a stab at saying what can I get out of VMware from a data fields list. Ashley, outside of the data fields and the access that we have, what would you need to create the object? You need the classes object would have particular data fields, and we just need to dictate to you what those were, right?
Yep, I just need to know which data points we want held in that class object, and then we should add a checkbox to let us know when the class is closed, and that will trigger the workflows to go in and update opportunities.
Okay. So we need the right data fields, and we need to make a decision around what the event trigger is.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now that seems like that would help a shit ton of your time, James, if you could automate that one, especially for your month-end close, right? And then we would actually be able to maybe look into where it stops if it goes to because maybe we could have I mean, I'm just spitballing here, but I know a part of that validation leads to your invoicing that you submit to the controller, right? So maybe this thought process could be extended to create another object around an invoice and potentially tie those data elements back to an invoicing object that might help your month-end close as well.
That is a possibility. I would have to look more into that.
Yeah. But we can see. I'm
Yes.
just thinking out loud, like I said. So.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So what else, Ash? Or do you guys have any other questions on this one or discussion on this one?
Nope.
Nope.
The only other thing I had on the list is not anything that I could prepare for today. Well, there's mass email through Salesforce. That's a good one, actually, to go through. Where are my contacts? So mass emailing through Salesforce, is this something that you've ever done, James?
That?
Is this something that you've ever done? Mass emailing?
Well, no, because I'm not permitted to use any other tools, I don't think, from marketing. I haven't done it from Salesforce, but I've used like Constant Contact and some things like that.
Okay. So Salesforce would it be something that you'd be interested in or no? From Salesforce, or is that not something you'd probably be allowed to do?
I don't think I'd be allowed to do it, but
Okay.
I want to ask the question and see what we're allowed to get away with.
Okay.
Like the mail merge thing is really pushing it with marketing. They don't. they don't. I think they're trying to put rules around it that prevent
Okay.
us from doing it, but
Okay. Well,
so
that
that
means
it'd
the
be down
only
the road.
the only other thing that I'd had in here is potentially getting the commissions in, because that's something that I know you said can take time, and it would be nice for the reps to be able to see that in live time. That
Yeah.
is custom code though, so I couldn't prepare that by today, and that is something that would take place a little bit further down the road.
Okay.
Um,
I think they would love that.
yeah, it's something that I could build out in like a sandbox so that you could see it before it would go live if you have any sandboxes, which you should at least have one. And then you could see it before it actually going live, but it's something that will take time.
Okay.
Hey, Ashley, can you talk through, so when you say you got to build, what does that mean? What would you have to build?
So, let me do something really quick.
You don't got to show me. I'm just kind of thinking, macro level elements. I mean, is it just a bunch of object creation, or is it, I mean, what is it we build?
I will show you. Hold on, because you know code. So,
In the document that I'm preparing, there's some suggestions that I wanted to make as well that would go along the idea of data mining,
okay,
and and the build out of a particular repository, potentially a database that collect different elements. So if we're going to be building something and we can combine efforts, that's ultimately what I want to get to.
okay, yes, definitely, because this is, hold on. This is definitely something that is built out. So, like, if I show you, this is what um, I built out here. This is the code, but we have a very complicated commissions. If they're easier, it wouldn't be as hard, and it's a custom view that you can then see.
Okay.
So it is custom. This isn't out of the box. And then there's a visual force page that goes along with this. This is the controller, and then there's a visual force page that goes along with it.
Okay. Yeah, so all your code that you're talking about in this case then is just contained within the Salesforce platform. It's not API calls to the exterior to Salesforce.
Nope, it's all within Salesforce. So we would just need the plan and to sit down and make sure that it's configured right. But then it basically just pulls up a view and says, here, this is what you're looking at for the month.
Yep. Okay. And really, this isn't alleviating it. Well, it is, right? Because you've got to
Yes.
calculate the commission structure now. So it's another one of those month-end close tasks that we'd be automating.
Yep. As well as if people are ever asking him for it, he doesn't have to go manually calculate and try to give them a ballpark. They'll have it at their fingertips at all times.
Okay, understand. Were there any others?
Nope, that was it.
So the other part of that discussion that we had last time, James, was did you have any questions about things that you think potentially Salesforce could do, you just didn't know? And Ashley would have to kind of go and answer or investigate for you. Did you have any of those items?
I don't. I mean, I think we're kind of going through some things I don't know. So.
Okay. Yeah. So as we get smarter, we'll ask more detailed questions, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, certainly. Okay. So I think, at least for myself, it's going on an hour now. So, and I know I said let's target an hour and a half. I do want to quickly see. So let me just ask you guys, how much longer do you have?
I don't have anything else scheduled for today.
Yeah, me either.
Okay, so let me do this. Let me kill this recording, and let me send you another one because I want to record the discussion, and we might as well jump into it What I want to do is present the flows that we've captured and start talking about the 2D and making the, and I know we've already kind of done this a little bit, but I want to make sure that, any of the suggestions that we're going through, um, are captured and that sort of thing. So maybe it'll go quick, but that's what I'm going to do next. So let me kill this one. I'll send you another meeting invite so we can record it separately, and we'll do that, okay?
All right.
All right.